Yeah, this video is for Del Puckett, just a response to his YouTube comment. He replied back and just asked me to post a video about the first cigar box guitar build that I've done. Del has kind of been an inspiration. I watched a few of his videos and inspired me to say, hey, I can try that too. So I went out and I watched a lot of his videos and got a lot of his techniques, picked it up from there, and then also went out and bought the book, Shane Speal's Making Poor Man's Guitars, and I've really just been having a blast. And so my daughter and we got together and started working on a project, and so far we're pretty far along. It's almost done. I thought I'd be done yesterday, but I think it was just my anticipation of wanting to play it so bad that I thought it was almost done, but it's not. I still have some things I need to do, but here's the basics of it. I'm using a La Aroma de Cuba cigar box, and we got this from a cigar emporium down the road, $1, and it is a fantastic box. What I've done is a through body design for the neck, but if you notice, I actually have a much smaller tailpiece than you typically see. I kind of like the aesthetic of that a little bit more. Also, I'm using the hinge concept here for the bridge piece on the back, as well as this bridge slash saddle that I created. This is one thing that I'm really proud of. I actually made this out of wood and contoured this and smoothed it down, and this piece is sitting on pegs. I can take it out, and the idea was that I could be able to adjust the height much easier without having to deconstruct the whole guitar together. Using the sink drains for the sound holes. And while these aren't fixed yet, I've got double-sided tape holding them on, and I'm going to use the back corners as well. I'm using these brass corner pieces, and one thing that I've tried to do with all the brass pieces is I've tried to artificially antique them and provide a patina. So I looked online for some techniques, particularly with what they call a verdigris patina, where it's kind of a bluish green. And it turned out pretty well. I'm really happy and pleased with the results. Moving up the guitar, so I did put a heel on the guitar neck, as Del suggested, as well as this back angle. Again, I'm not done with the guitar, and I can tell the setup is a bit high. The action's a little high, but again, what's great about this is I can take this off and I'm going to sand it down, and hopefully it'll give me the right angle. However, it does make a difference. That back angle, I think it is really important. I can tell that if I wouldn't have done that, I probably would have regretted it, and it wouldn't have been as playable. I did go with a fretted design, so I put in the frets onto this fretboard. I also did the dot inlays. These are just little dowels that I put in, and I've gotten them flush and brought down. I'm using medium fret wire all the way down, except for the nut. I'm using that idea, Del. And by the way, this is me not done yet. I still need to slot the nut, and I'm going to ask you a question too when I get to this. But I'm using a jumbo fret here for the nut, and then coming off of there, I got the 3 tuning pegs. Things that I still need to do. All right, so these are the things that are unfinished, and maybe Del, you could give me some advice or maybe have some suggestions. And that is with the string trees, the guides down here at the bottom. I've seen how everybody's done this. Quite frequently, you use eye bolts, or there might be some sort of bar you put across. I've just been, kind of waffling back and forth. I really don't like the aesthetic of the eye hooks, the way that it went here, and I'm also not quite sure if that's the best way to attack this. So one, I think if I had the slots correctly and the right depth, these strings would probably stay seated without making contact and going off too much, and I don't think it'll be an issue. So I'm going to try to make an adjustment to the actual nut itself, make sure the depth of the slots are a little bit deeper, and see if that makes a difference. And if I can get away with not having a string tree, that would be great. But in case I can't get away with that, Del, what do you suggest? I've tried. I've looked at the eye bolts. I don't know. I just think it might look a little strange. And also, you can see the height that I have. I do have a little bit that I need to come down, but not sure if it requires a string tree. All right, now I'm kind of rambling on. The last part that I need to fix. Of course, I just had these with double-sided tape on these top, just so I could see what it looked like while I was putting this together. One other thing that I've been trying to work on, because these cigar boxes are so cool, you know, they look so neat. They're beautiful on the inside if you sand them down and really pay attention to it. What I wanted to do is make a guitar that had a cigar box that I could actually look at and show people as well, without having to take the strings off or anything. So everything is fixed with fasteners. And this box is really snug to the guitar neck itself. So I don't have any fasteners yet keeping the top down, so I can actually just slide this down to show you. Let's see if I can take this off without destroying it on camera. There we go. And it just pops right off. And you'll see, it's still here. And if I flip it over, what I tried to do is also make this look a little bit nicer. I took an old poster that I found from Monterey Pop that had Jimi Hendrix on the front of it, and kind of lists out some of the artists. I thought that would be kind of a cool touch. I also want to add a little bit more finishing around here to make it look a little bit nicer. But on the inside of the box, so Del, I've taken your advice and made sure some bracing, some support, and so this is what I've come up with. Are these two kind of pieces on the end. I think a lot of people are doing it this way. I did stain these and I sanded them and everything. But what I'm also going to do is put in some smaller pieces just to edge this out real nice to make it look much better, much more finished kind of appearance. And then make sure that this has been all sanded out. It's real smooth. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this. Tongue oil is what I'm using, so it'll hopefully pop a little bit like this on the back. And I just think that would be really neat. And another thing I was trying to do is, or think of, is a way to put my mark on this, right? A maker's mark of sorts. And so any suggestions on any of these things, I'd really appreciate it. I'm having a blast, Del. Thanks again for sharing your talent and your passion. It's really inspired me, and I'm looking forward to more videos. Thanks again.